Hello guys! I'm in a different corner of my room today, so it's gonna look slightly different because I kind of get tired of seeing me in the same spots every day when I'm filming. But today's video, I wanted to talk about how your emotions can be used as clues to finding out who you really are or you truly want to be in the future. And what made me think this is that I seen something recently that said that our emotions only last 90 seconds, like the strong emotion of anger, sadness, fear, anxiety, all those kind of things. That the initial shock and reaction you have is only 90 seconds. Then anything after that is actually just your mind replaying the scenario over and over and bringing you back into that reset of 90 seconds constantly, which I found very interesting because it started making me think of how I react to situations, and I realized that for myself, I know that sometimes I can start overthinking things. Like, it'll happen, and then I feel fine, and then I keep thinking about it. I'm like, wait, but maybe I should be angry, but maybe this should have happened, or maybe I need to talk about this, and then I need to find a solution or explain it, or I don't know, make it right then in the moment. And I think it honestly just creates more of a loop in my head, which is not healthy. And so when I see the article, it made me stop and realize, if that's true, then I'm gonna try to be more cognizant of when I feel a strong emotion and let myself feel it for those 90 seconds or whatever. And then after that, think to myself, hey, am I okay? That's the main point. Do I really need to keep going into this or what? And so recently I've been doing that more, and I realize it actually helps a lot. It might be hard in the beginning to try to remind yourself of these things, but if you guys can, I think you should really try, because in the moment you start to realize hey, I'm fine. That's another thing. I created a mantra for myself because I heard that those are actually very good for you too, and grounding yourself in scenarios where you feel maybe overwhelmed or anything like that. So usually what I tell myself is, you're not in trouble, you're okay, you're safe, nothing bad's gonna happen. Even if somebody's angry at you, nothing bad's gonna happen. Well, if something bad is happening, you gotta get out of that situation. But normally, healthy situations, if you're just at work or your family or whatever, just reminding yourself nothing bad is gonna happen, you are okay. And I feel now every time I remind myself of things like that, I immediately feel a lot more calm, and I'm able to let things just roll off my back more, rather than before when I would feel I don't know, a strong impulse of anger or sadness and fear. I would start getting anxious for some reason. And it's not a good feeling, obviously, or replaying that in your head, obviously. So creating whatever mantra for yourself that makes you feel good inside, to remind you of whatever struggles you're going through, that you're fine and that you are okay and you can continue with the scenario and get through it, is really, really helpful. So I think you guys should do that. And another thing I was really thinking about recently when I was bringing up the topic to myself in my head was also realizing that you have to trust yourself more. And say I don't know, your friend comes up to you and they're like, I hate your haircut, but you like your haircut. And now you're going out, you're like, dang, maybe my haircut does look bad. And you're changing things up about yourself just because of the opinion of one other person, instead of thinking about you yourself. What do you like? And I think that's very important. I think you should do what you truly like, regardless of the opinions of others. And remember that people's opinions are not facts. It's an opinion. And you can let things come and go with ease. You know what I mean? You can just take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes I don't think it's bad to hear what people say, be oh, they said this, blah, blah, blah. I think it's okay if somebody's trying to tell you something hey, I really like your haircut, or hey, I think you look better in this color, to be honest. You don't have to take that as fact. Sometimes some things you can listen for yourself and be you know what, maybe they're right. I actually do like this color on myself better. Or you can also be hey, that's just an opinion, that's fine. If they think that, that's okay. And they're allowed to. That's okay if they think I look better in green, and I hate the color green, so I'm not gonna wear it. And I'm okay with that. If they don't think that, I think I look great in this color. or whatever. I don't think I look great in this color, so I'm gonna avoid it. I think you should just do what feels better or right for you within yourself, and trusting yourself more, you know? Because sometimes you can get in your head, I think, and constantly want validation from other people to like affirm what you want to do. And if they don't do that, it's going to make you angry or feel weird, or, you know, and you shouldn't be able to do that. You should be able to hear people's opinions, their whatever, and just take that in, decide what you want to do with it, and leave it. And that can be fine. That is okay, guys. That is a-okay. Another thing I was actually thinking about as well is kind of going back to if it makes you feel angry when people bring things up to you, because that's a problem I would have sometimes as well, is if somebody would say like, Alana, you're always late. For some reason that would make me angry, because in my head I'm like, well, I'm not trying to be late, blah, blah, blah. Like, I immediately get defensive. But I had to take a step back and realize sometimes the things that you're getting defensive about are just things that you actually genuinely don't like about yourself, and you're just maybe not coming to terms with that, because that's how I was. And I had to start realizing, well, if I don't like how people keep saying I'm late, then like, girl, we got to be on time. Like, let's be early then. What are you mad about? Just change it then. And I think sometimes you have to realize it's okay to change. Like, it doesn't have to be this huge thing about, well, this is just how I am. It's just how I am. Because I know I can get into like about that into my head sometimes as well. But if you yourself also don't like that, then it is okay to change and realize some things about yourself and how they're actually like maybe hindering you and the process of who you want to be, or opportunities you want to get, or anything like that, you know? So for example, like me, like kind of like being late, or somebody says like, I don't know, just anything that I just didn't like that they were perceiving me that way. And I had to realize, like, that's okay. If it is a negative trait and I notice it myself and I just don't want to change because I'm being stubborn, you're gonna have to get over that at a certain point, girl, and be like, you know what, I have to change this. It's not good to be late every day. It's just the truth. It's the fact. And once I started realizing that and trying to make better progress in that and changing, I feel like my life actually did get better. Because now I'm not stressed out when I'm going places, because I'm like, oh, I'm on time. I'm actually early. So there's nothing in my head to get stressed about. Cortisol level low. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good. And it actually was a positive change. You know what I mean? And you have to really take a good hard look at yourself and the things that you don't like being perceived as, and just change it. If you don't like being perceived that way, then you don't have to be that way. If you don't like when people comment on you being too I don't know, I'm trying to think of examples. Like, say you're not a very trustworthy person because you said something to somebody else and you weren't supposed to because you're like gossiping or something, then it's like, okay, girl, if you don't like when people perceive you that way, then maybe you don't gotta do that. You know what I mean? Maybe take them thoughts to your journal or something, or you know what I mean? Or say if somebody says that you're not very reliable and that makes you angry, then it's like, okay, so what are the things we gotta do to be a reliable person? Because clearly the people around us maybe aren't viewing us that way, and we don't like that. And it can be annoying in the beginning when people tell you things like that, because like, well, why are they saying that to me? Like, I don't like that they're thinking that, obviously, because you want to hear positive things about yourself. But sometimes if you hear negative things about yourself, it's okay to be like, that is actually bad, and I do want to change that. I don't like being perceived that way. I wouldn't want to be seen as like a untrustworthy person or something, you know? Like, myself. If you truly don't care, then I guess you truly don't care. But for things you truly do care about within yourself. And some other things I was thinking about for like clues about like finding who you are or who you want to be is, I think you really do have to have a lot more trust in yourself. And that honestly means you can't ask people their opinion for every single thing. And that's really hard sometimes, like if you're a person who constantly wants to make sure you're not making mistakes or something. But you have to realize sometimes mistakes are part of the process and you can't really avoid them. So you might as well go through it and trust yourself enough to be able to get through those things. And you'll feel a lot better in the end because you prove to yourself that you can do hard things. And even if it's something small, like I had to start off with like coloring, which sounds really weird, but what I like to do is I color in like a kid's coloring book or whatever, and I don't look at my phone or anything, and I just kind of do my own things. And if you're a person who also likes perfection or whatever, and you don't want to do the bad thing, you don't want to mess up, you hate making mistakes, you should honestly color, because I force myself to like not look up color schemes, like even small things like that, because I'm like, well, I don't want it to look ugly. What am I going to do if the page looks ugly after? But it's like, it's not a big deal. It's a coloring page. You can put whatever color you want to do. And I think that helps me trust myself more because I'm picking the colors I truly want to pick, and I don't have any influence of others telling me what color would look best or this or that, and nobody's really looking through my coloring book. And I have to realize, like, I can just be free to do whatever I want. If I make a mistake and I like go over the line, that's okay too. But small things like that can be hard. Like for the beginning, there's so many times where I want to just look up, okay, houses, so I can look up the exact color scheme of houses, so I can have like an aesthetic page. But it's like, you don't have to have all that. Like, you can't even trust your own head enough to like just have fun. Like, you know what I mean? And maybe that's something different for you. And maybe you can find like a different exercise that works better for you to help trust yourself. Maybe that's like not asking people what your outfit looks like when you're going out, like talking to your friends or family, boyfriend, girlfriend, lover, I don't know, grandma. Maybe that's you not being like, hey, does this my like hat go with my outfit? Does this color go with this? Don't ask them questions like that. Don't do that ever again. You can do it sometimes. But like in the beginning, if you're trying to get better at trusting your own judgment in yourself, I honestly think you should stray away from stuff like that, because you're kind of hindering yourself again. Like, you're almost like proving to yourself that your own judgment is wrong or can be very wrong or something, and you don't fully trust it. So you need the second opinion of others to affirm or deny what you like, which is not good. You shouldn't do that. And like I said, it can be with like haircuts, it could be with your clothes, it could be with what school you should go to, what career you should choose. You can't really ask too many people their opinion on things like that, because everyone's gonna have their own view and, I don't know, their own way of looking at life. And you need to trust your judgment of life through your own eyes, because you've had a different experience than everybody else. No matter even if you had the same household as like your siblings or something, you guys are gonna experience different things, especially like when you're apart and stuff like that. So it's important to trust your own judgment in those scenarios, or any scenario, and try to really think about, what do you yourself like? And that's one thing I've been trying to do more too, because like sometimes I get in my head and it'll be small things like hairstyles, and I'll see a lot of girls and I'm like, oh, their hair looks so cute, like with no bangs. But I actually really love my bangs, so for a while I was trying to grow them out and see what it looked like, but then I realized I hate it. And then I was like, well, maybe I just have to like force my way through it and like do it, because maybe it would look better. And at the end of the day, I had to realize, but I like the way I look with bangs. Like, I think they're really cute. I think they fit me. I think they frame myself. I think my curls look a lot cuter when I have bangs for some reason, and that's okay. I mean, if I found something I like, why do I have to change it? You know, you don't really have to. And it's okay to experiment. I'm glad that I did. That way you can like really see like, hey, I actually didn't like this, so I know what I do like even more now. Like, I'm sure of it now. So that's also a great thing. But just don't get too caught up in your head and like lose track of what you're trying to do, and then try to fit into like the mold of everyone else, because you're not everyone else, you're yourself. That's what makes us beautiful, is being unique. If you look like everyone, I'm not going to care about you, because I think you look like Cindy Lou Who down the street, and now I don't know the difference between both of you. I want to know who you are. I want to know what your thoughts are. I want to know how you like to dress, what color schemes you like, what books you like to read, yada yada yada, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, Be your own person. You don't have to copy everyone else in the entire world. Who likes that? Nobody. We don't like that over here. But yeah, there's so many different things or clues to who you want to be if you really just take a good hard look at yourself, I think. So I think even small things like in arguments, I think that's another good key to finding out who you are, because I think your emotions play like a huge part in your like yourself and trying to understand yourself. So like if there's certain things where you find yourself getting mad at, I think you should like take a step back after or in the moment if you can maybe and be like, why did I get mad at this? Why does this make me angry? And then try to like dive deeper into that. If it's because you feel abandoned, hurt, misheard, confused, if you feel like you're not being understood fully, if you feel like maybe like you're in trouble, like I said, I had to ground myself and be like, hey, you're good, you're not in trouble, nobody's gonna get in trouble. Like even if a customer's mad at you or something, it's like, okay, but who are you? Like I'm fine, like you're not gonna ground me, you're not gonna like suspend me, you're gonna be okay, you know what I mean? So you should really take a look at yourself during those big emotions. Like even when you're anxious, why is this making me anxious? If you don't want to be anxious, you don't have to. Okay, I know that sounds weird, but you can do things that are gonna help you. So I know medication is kind of like a 50-50 thing with a lot of people, but if you need to do that, maybe you should try it. I don't use it, to be honest, but if you need to, you should maybe try it. For me, what I realized from my anxiety was a lot of it with being perceived. And so when I took what is that class called? A communications class. I was forced to constantly talk in front of people, and I had to do a cartwheel in front of people. And I'm telling you, after I did a cartwheel in front of a whole group of people I don't really know, I was like, wait, I'm actually not like anxious anymore. I kind of don't care what people think, because like nobody cared when I did a cartwheel. They asked me to do another one. So I was like, oh, things really aren't that big of a deal. So I'm good now. And that really like changed my mind. So the things you can be anxious about can be different things. I mean, some of them of course can be more like a mental thing, you know, like your hormones and everything. So you might need to go to like a doctor to get medication for that. But in other instances, it can be kind of like in my scenario where you kind of just have to like face that thing that's making you feel that way. And once you experience it, it's like it like changes your brain, because now you have like a new belief system in your brain where you're like, wait, nobody cared, I'm okay, nothing bad happened in this situation, I don't feel embarrassed. And especially realizing that embarrassment is low-key a choice. You don't have to be embarrassed about anything, to be honest. That's just you being worried about what other people are thinking. You don't have to feel embarrassed. And after you realize those, the truth behind yourself changes. Now your truth is, I'm not an anxious person, I feel very confident. And now I truly believe that I really am a very confident person. And I love talking to people. I talk to like random people and strangers all the time, every single time I go out. And I don't feel like anxious or scared about others perceive me, because at the end of the day, I like myself, I love myself now. So I kind of don't really care what other people think about me, because I only care about what I think of me. And I think I'm a good person, I think I'm a nice person, I think I'm a funny person, I think I'm a beautiful person, I think I'm a smart person, I think I'm a charismatic person, I think I'm a lot of things. And those are my self-truths for who I am. If you don't have any self-truths, you're going to be very confused, and you're going to be very easily influenced about what anybody says about you, which is not a good thing. You should not be easily influenced into every single thing that people tell you. Because if somebody tells you, hey, you're a bad person, and you know that you're not a bad person, you're going to start believing it. And it's like, what are you believing them for? That was only one person who's ever told you that, and nobody else has ever done it. You know what I mean? Everyone's going to be a good and bad person to somebody. So you only have to take your self-truths for yourself. And like I said, you can still do your self-evaluations. If you're doing something wrong, you should acknowledge that and change it. But if you yourself know your basis, like your core, like you're not doing anything bad, then you should keep that internal confidence within yourself, you know? Like, you can't really change that, you know? Absolutely not. And then another thing I really had to realize for myself is that you don't have to let other people's emotions affect your own. it's really good to keep your own self at a good base level no matter what other people's emotions are like coming at you with, because if you're having a good day and somebody comes up to you, they're having a bad day, you can't have your whole day thrown off just because of them. At the end of the day, our emotions are a choice besides those initial 90 seconds, like I said. But anything after that is an active choice to stay in that space. And so, like, even at work, people constantly ask me, like, how are you always so nice and positive and kind, blah, blah, blah. And it's just because, like, even if there are rude customers, I just don't want them to have that power over me where a negative comment they said is now affecting my entire day and mood, and now I can't have happiness or fun. You know what I mean? Like, no, if they're having a bad day, they're having a bad day. And I guess I'll give them that space too. That whatever. What they feel is not on me. I'm not going to change the way they feel, and they're not going to change the way that I feel. If I'm having a good day, I'm having a good day. I'm having a great day. And sometimes maybe that means distancing yourself from that person, creating space, and then moving on and just being like, I want to be happy today. And just make the active choice and just see things different, Like, say they're made you mad or something, and then it's been 30 minutes. You gotta take a step back and realize after a certain point in time, I've been mad for 30 minutes. Why? Because of something dumb that somebody said or did? At the end of the day, that's 30 minutes of my life that I wasted. I don't want to say wasted, but feeling like sad when I didn't have to, and I could have chose to, go take a walk or do something to clear my own head and then ground myself and feel good and happy with what I want to do and continue on with my day. I live a life of misery. People are miserable all over the world. Why do you have to let all these miserable people affect you? That's gonna make them happy, but that's not gonna make you happy. So I don't know, you really just can't let miserable people affect you at all. And same with you, vice versa. If you're feeling angry, you can't expect other people to feel angry for you or with you, or you can't really force your emotions on other people to I don't know, like, share the same misery together. That's also not healthy. You have to also give people space and grace, you know what I mean? Like, so if you're in an argument or something and the other person's like, hey, I need some space, you also had to, like, let them have that space. And same with you. If somebody is making you angry, sometimes you yourself have to be like, hey, I need to take a step away from this situation right now. We can come back to this later, or we just end this right now, but I need to take some space away because I'm getting angry and I don't need to feel that way. Sorry. And you can't get mad at people for thinking stuff like that, because at the end of the day, they're trying to, make themselves feel better as well. It's not good to constantly stay in a state of anger or whatever. You know what I mean? That's just not healthy for you, your heart, nothing. And it doesn't really help anybody in the scenario, Like, if you're arguing for like 10 plus minutes, at a certain point, it's like, hey, what is the goal in this situation? Because I don't think it's to keep arguing. So let's find a way to just end this, because now it's starting to become unnecessary, unfortunately. And some people really do like to argue, or sometimes you really feel like you want to get your point across so bad, but even if you're not, sometimes you have to realize, hey, let's just let this go because this is not working. And then you can move accordingly from there. Like, say if it's a really terrible situation or something, obviously you should probably walk away from it. But if it's somebody you genuinely love and you guys both care about each other, like your family and stuff like that, you have to realize that, I don't know, some people, you just genuinely think different, and that can be okay. That is fine. We don't really have to argue about every single thing in the world. If you're going to think that, you can think that. All right, I'm going to think this way, and I'm not going to change it. And you might not change it either, so we should probably leave it where it's at. You don't have to argue your way to the ground for something that most of the time usually isn't even important. You know what I mean? So I think these are just very important things to keep in mind or remember, especially if you're trying to grow as a person. Because, I don't know, I'm in my early 20s, I'm 21, so I'm assuming people who are watching me are somewhere around my age as well. But even if you're older or younger, I mean, the same lessons still apply. Doesn't matter when you learn them. But I think a lot of people my age can probably relate to the things that I'm going through at this time. So Just give your guys self grace. I also truly believe you should never beat yourself up for anything. I don't really understand the logic in that. I would not ever beat myself up for anything. If there's a lesson I need to learn, then I'll learn it and I'll move on. I'm not gonna throw a pity party for myself or berate myself because I'm like, oh my god, I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do that? No. If it happened, it happened. So what are we gonna do from here? And that's what you really have to do in life. I don't know. Now you're just replaying the situation in your head again, like I said, and that's not good. I mean, like, I remember reading this book. I think it was like about trauma and how, especially in like abusive situations or like things like that when you're a child, how constantly thinking of them is really damaging for yourself because your body doesn't know the difference between what you're experiencing in the moment versus a thought from the past that you're re-experiencing now. So it all plays out in the same kind of trauma, and so you're just constantly making your body relive past trauma or errors from others or maybe yourself and all those kinds of things, and you just really can't do that. You can't live in the past, so there's no point in beating yourself up about literally anything. I'm sorry. You find a way to move on, learn, and correct yourself, and that's it. I mean, it doesn't really have to be anything more than that, and that's okay, you know? And you shouldn't feel like it has to be a hard thing to like get there. I feel like growing as a person should be a thing of grace and ease on yourself, because at the end of the day, we're all people, and this is all of our first lives. Some people, of course, have been alive longer, so they have more wisdom to share with others, but even them as well may have lessons to learn, and you can't really cast so much judgment on yourself or others for things like that, you know? Like, if they're constantly just doing the same thing over and over again, of course it's more annoying because, like, girl, you gotta learn, like, come on, let's move on now. But you yourself, you just have to give yourself grace and also accountability. You have to take accountability for things and realize, hey, what I did actually is a problem, so we can fix it, instead of, you know, trying to delude yourself into believing that what you did is a good thing, because that's very harmful as well. You shouldn't believe that you're correct in every single scenario in the entire world, because you're never going to grow as a person that way. Sometimes we do make mistakes. Sometimes we make mistakes that are unintentional. That's what a mistake is. You know what I mean? You didn't want it to turn out that way, but it did. So what are ways we can go about this that way we're not hurting others or hurting ourselves in the same way? But yeah, thanks guys for watching my channel and for clicking on my videos. And still, guys, we're growing. I'm so proud. I think I have like 11 subscribers now, which is kind of cool, kind of fun. But I really like talking on here, and it's really fun. I love you guys. I really appreciate when you guys leave comments as well. I think it's really fun. So if you ever want to say something, I think you should share it in the comments, because I don't know, maybe you have some insight that I haven't thought about. And yeah, so I'll be back to share my thoughts on random topics again later. Bye guys.